Hey guys, Nananki here bringing you another Team Fortress 2 gameplay commentary. Last night I was playing as the Demoman, using the standard sticky bomb launcher, the lock and load for my primary, and the bottle for my melee. I don't really like the swords and so forth with the minus health options when I'm using the explosives as my main loadout, because I'm not trying to get point blank with people. I'm just trying to blow people up and stay at that medium range where Demoman is super effective. Point blank, not so good. Medium, better, yes. So, you know, having finished that confrontation, time to run for my life. Head back to the cart, back to the medics. I think we've got a couple medics, or maybe just one on this particular round. I think later we have another one. And that's, again, one of the most important things to have is medics, because without medics, I'd have to go all the way back to the spawn cabinet to get my health back. And I saw that spy, and I was going to chase him, but then, you know, uber heavy on the cart. A little bit more important to worry about that. And I want to try to protect the medic here and prevent the scout from coming over to us, and I've only got one sticky in my gun, and there's all my grenades, and you know, it's just enough to handle the situation, so I was pretty happy about that. Unfortunately, I did miss the pyro. I see the medic's got probably just enough health to get to the supply cabinet, so I made a self-sacrifice there. It was a human shield, and as you see, he did survive, so that made me happy. It's always worth my life to kill a spy, or a medic, I'm sorry. That spy got my attention, but yeah, I was trying to predict where that pyro was going to go and just had like no luck with it whatsoever. And I thought that was kind of funny, but I did see the heavy coming up, and luckily I got the drop on him before he could run away. And time to reload my stickies, because of course I have none. Hi pyro, so you know, there's my one sticky, he goes running off, and I charge up a shot and fire it way around the corner. I got him. But yeah, when you've got a medic healing you, can just tank your way through level 1 and even level 2 sentries and just a couple stickies and they're done. Come around the corner, and what do I see but their telly, and I get lucky with a crit, so I don't even have to worry about the heavy there, and I've got a teammate with us, luckily, that pyro who's helping me finish people off, because sometimes the lock and load is enough, and sometimes it's not, and it's really handy to have a pyro there to just burn people to death. So I went around the rocks there to hopefully not get noticed, and unfortunately we get a lag spike there, and I kind of missed a bunch of times, but I did manage to kill this pyro because he came after me in kind of a straight line, and you know, that's the only time you're really guaranteed to be hit is when you go straight toward the Demoman. So at the beginning of my next life, I see there's a whole bunch of red in front of me, and they all kind of just ignore me. I think the scout probably was actually running from me, but the heavy thoroughly didn't notice me. But I've used up like all the ammo in both my guns, and rather than try to charge up that hill and fire one round at a time at a heavy being healed, and overhealed for that matter, I ran off and got some ammo back in the weapons. I didn't even need health, but yeah, I still needed to get out of the way, so, you know, force of habit. But anyway, here comes the rest of my teammates, and I noticed they stopped pushing the tunnel, so I figured that pyro was probably going to be coming around that way, but he didn't, and I saw the teammates on my team were pushing up the hill directly out of the tunnel, so I figured I'll go the top route, and yeah, there's a whole mess of them right there at the bottom of the hill. And I don't want that scout to have an easy time of getting up, and the second one did not see the trap, the first one did, and there's my first sight of that sentry there. Yeah, with the Wrangler up, the gun only takes 1/3 of its normal damage, so it would take 6 lock and load shots or direct hits to bring it down. Like, probably 7 stickies, I don't know if they're right on top of the thing, maybe 6, because normally 2 right on top of it will take it out, so, say 6. Probably wrong, somebody will tell me in the comments if I'm wrong. But unfortunately, my medic did die there, and more unfortunately, the scout did not run into that sticky. And there's a space there to throw Girardi, and I was like, ugh. I felt like the Demoman. I was like, ah, cripe. Of course, you know, Girardi-soaked medic gets taken out immediately, and I thought I'd be crafty there and strafe left out against the ledge and get that lock and load shot on the pyro, because he wouldn't expect me to put myself against the ledge, but I shot the rock wall instead, and the pyro obliged my stupidity by pushing me off the ledge, as well I deserve to be pushed. And I noticed in the replay there was a red guy behind us, but I did not notice when I was playing until the moment I caught fire and figured, well, that clearly did not come from the front, so it must have come from the back. So I just started throwing stickies and, you know, kind of run for my life. More random crits help me out and allow me to take out that heavy. The lock and load is just so powerful. Unfortunately, the medics are both, I'll assume, in desperate need of health, and unfortunately could not heal me. They were healing each other. That's how it goes sometimes, though. The medics' lives are more important than mine, to be blunt. And it doesn't matter if I can't aim, the heavy can. Bunch of people detached going under the tunnel. I figure I'll go up the top. You know, use the soldier's rocket to rocket jump a little bit, just maybe not get headshotted. And that time he did see me coming from behind. I did have the time to get out of the way. And we've got 2 heavies now in the tunnel. And I'm thinking now is definitely the moment. We got 2 heavies in the tunnel. I will go the top route and try my absolute best to stop the smart scout. I'm like, smart scouts would go around the rocks. Yep, there he is. So you gotta, you know, prediction is more just a matter of identifying how, you know, capable your opponent is and whether or not they see you, what direction they're going, are they going to continue moving in that direction. And I don't know how my crit there did not get anybody. It was very close. The lock and load luckily did finish them off, but would have been better if the crit had just killed them outright, and unfortunately my medic was in front of me there. I did not have a chance to be a human shield because I didn't realize where he was. I thought he had time to back up the hill beyond the rocks, but no, he was following me, and I left him out in the cold. That was my bad. But again, with, you know, next to no health, I'm heading over here, and I'm like, well, all the medics are dead, I know, because I just watched them all die, because I failed to protect them. I don't know why in this replay my parrot is not purple. It is a deep commitment to purple, is the color shade of my parrot. I don't understand why it's not showing up properly, but that's not too relevant to the gameplay. The important thing is to the gameplay that I, again, failed to protect my medic from scouts during the scoots. But there's nobody at the point now. The gun's down, and I'm like, well, I'll just stay on the cart and shoot lock and load shots in a way to just try to make sure that the scout can't get right on top of me until I can cap it. So that I think if he had been close enough to try to actually stop the cart, I would have hit him. And what was that, like 5 sticky? 6 does the trick. They weren't directly on top of him, but also people who have seen any of my videos before will notice I now have a hit sound enabled. After having multiple requests to do so, I decided to break down and replace the basic hit sound, because it's terribly loud, with one that was more to my liking. I used the Quake 3 Arena hit sound. If you're familiar with it, it's the one that you've heard throughout this video. It's fairly subtle, and it's as easy as simply downloading the hit sound of your preference, naming it hitsound.wave, and putting it in some nested folder in the TF2 folders. There's like several dozen nested folders there. But, you know, sometimes you stick stickies on the corners, you know, whatever, it's all good. The important thing is that my medic has a full charge. Demoman, of course, is burdened with the longest reload time in the game if you want to reload all of your weapons. I think second would be Soldier with the shotgun. Without a pyro there to air blast, a Uber Demoman is almost assuredly the end of any sentries in the area, but not this time. It's all I can do to get a revenge shot at the pyro who done it to me. That was a pretty good juggle, and I should have probably made my focus that pyro, but there were so many other things to focus on that I felt like if I could just deal with them, I wouldn't mind being knocked off the ledge. And oh, though it was walls, my nemesis, walls and pillars and ceilings, sometimes floors, with the lock and load. You know, anything that's not flesh or a sentry gun equals no detonation. So I'm glad my grenades are that smart to only want to kill people. I'm still waiting to see a grenade launcher that does some of the things in the Meet the Demoman video, like bouncing off a wall and then still exploding on contact with an enemy, or being able to distract a sentry gun. Like, yeah, I don't see that actually being implemented in the game, ever. That's probably one of the most disparate videos from what the actual class can do to what the class can do in the video. I think all the other videos fairly accurately depict the function of the class. You know, even the pyro video to a degree, wreaking havoc and death and fire. That's fair, but not the Demoman. Demoman doesn't do either of those things. I am proving here the Demoman is quite the avid cliff diver, though, clearly enjoying himself. You know, although I'm more than happy to play on no crit servers, I do like that dynamic more so probably than random crits. The vast majority of servers do have random crits enabled. And I don't know, it does balance things out a little bit when you've got people of lower skill, but when two people of equivalent skill get into a fight and, you know, you're, for example, meleeing somebody and you hit them twice, and you're about to get them for the third swing and kill them, and they swing and hit you once, and they get a crit and kill you, then yeah, it's disappointing. And I feel like, oh, I was robbed by the random crit. But at the same time, that can allow the worst player to sometimes kill the better player, and it mixes up the gameplay a bit. And I was so disappointed I didn't kill that medic there. I really wanted to, but I more so wanted to make sure that my medic lived. And here's all these pyros charging in, and I do believe my medic just burned to death. So that's terribly unfortunate. All I'll do now is, you know, try to protect the other medic the best I can from spies and pyros and whatever else. And we've still got 2 minutes left, but this can be a difficult corner to hold, or to advance on, I'm sorry, because it's all uphill, and they've got the advantage of, you know, the high ground. Anytime the enemy's got the high ground, you've got a difficult proposition on your hands taking it away. And I was burning to death. I had like 3 health left there. I in fact died from the afterburn of the confrontation. That's why I was just charging straight at the guy, like really hoping I could just deliver another grenade before I burned all the way to death. And, you know, I want this gun to be dead so desperately. That's why I switched to the normal grenade launcher. And I don't know what that last shot was about. I wanted to kill the dispenser so the NG wouldn't be able to rebuild so quickly. I probably should have just aimed for the NG. If I had done that instead of going for the dispenser, maybe I wouldn't have been shot to death by the NG. So let that be a lesson to you. Make the secondary priority always the NG. And despite the number of stickies I got around that corner on target to that sentry, and believe me, I was mashing the detonate button, it was just not quite sufficient to take the thing down. The NG had to be standing there tanking the thing, which means we are now down to 24 seconds to get this point, or, you know, so you would think. There's always overtime, but that only lasts 5 seconds, right? So what you'd say is that the absolute most here, we've got 20 seconds to capture this point, but no, that's not the case. As you well know, overtime will continue to extend every single time you touch the cart 5 more seconds. And although we have not had a teleporter for the vast majority of this round, we did have somebody switch to NG, there being an awesome team player and playing an awesome NG, and with my dying breath, I'm shooting at that sentry gun. All I want to do is kill that sentry gun. And you may have noticed I've started a timer there at the top, marking how long it's been since overtime started. And if I'm doing that, you know it must be for a reason. It's because with this teleporter up, which is right around the corner from the point, we are actually feeding players in fast enough that even with a few deaths, we're getting to the point and we're getting the cart touched. And the NG, as you can see, I passed him there, is set up in the little gully that overwatches or overlooks where we are. And although I do get gunned down here, as you can see, the heavy that did it is dead. And the rest of the people on the cart are still alive. We've got a multitude of people at the cart, more people still pouring in. It has been 45 seconds of overtime. We are still pushing the cart, and believe it or not, after all of that, we have captured the point. 51 seconds of overtime. I was thoroughly surprised by that. How often do you have almost a minute of overtime? I'd say pretty rarely. The cart levels are really the only ones that give you that chance. And right there, you know, jumping when you're under fire from a heavy, awesome tactic to survive. I got out of that with 30 health. I'm reasonably certain if I had not jumped and flew backwards from the force of their bullets, I would not have lived. I would have been closer, and I would have taken more damage, and more of the bullets would have likely hit me. So, jump in that situation to get away. Also extremely handy as a spy if you're trying to get away from an NG or something. If you jump and they're shooting you in the back with a shotgun, you can use that to propel yourself forward. Of course, now that we are moving in on the last point, I want my priority right here to just be to kill those guns as fast as possible. My first few shots were a little bit too far. You know, switching back from the lock and load to the grenade launcher, I kind of mix up the exact elevation I need to hit that arc at that range. Trying to visualize it, I can usually do it, especially if I use the same grenade launcher for more than, you know, a dozen minutes straight. But I am in the habit of switching. Anytime I have a lot of sentries to take out, I will use the standard old grenade launcher. The 4 rounds are just superior. Especially if you are not quite perfectly on target, you'll get them rolling around in the NG area, in the NG nest, you know, taking out the dispenser. If one of them is a crit and it's under the NG, that's going to blow him to smithereens. So it can compensate for having no opportunity to get the angle or just having bad aim. Which is, you know, you've got an equal chance of both. Like right there, I was really expecting the heavy to strafe to the right. And you got to lead just a tiny bit with the normal grenade launcher. They're so darn slow. And with the lock and load, you don't have to lead quite so much. And, you know, here they've popped an Uber. But I do not see a problem here. I see an opportunity. I figure we're going to just go around them. I see the spy take out the medic and the heavy you could see on the kill feed. I'm like, okay, their medic and heavy pair is down. We've got an Uber up. If we take out the gun at this moment, they're going to have, like, nobody to defend because we just kind of went around the defense. I decided if we can kill this heavy, we can do it, and that is how it played out. That pyro did not quite get to us in time, despite me not being able to kill him. I wasn't even aiming at him. Doesn't matter. We win. Good game. Good medicing. Good spying, and very good NGing. Without that NGing there, NG work, without that engineering, there's not a chance we would have had that point. So thank you so much for watching. I do greatly appreciate it. As always, awesome NG work. Like it if you liked it, and I will catch you next time. Peace.